What's up? How's it going? Daniel Barry Sports Highlights is in the house. Sunday. Almost Monday, I guess. It is Monday somewhere. Some places. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to Lab After Dark. It's good to see everybody. Fantastic. Somebody said it's single mom's birthday today. I got a birthday. Excuse me. Yeah, we do have some listeners from the future, too. My headphones suck. I hate them. Can't stand them. I don't know why. They bother me. What's happening, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to Lab After Dark. I'm your host, Joshua D. It's good to see you. Good to be here. As everybody's week is starting off, it is always a pleasure to welcome you into the week. And I like that, those, the motivational speakers, they say like, oh, don't fret the beginning of the week. Don't fret. You should be excited about it. And it's just like, shut up. You should be excited about it. Yeah, man, we're excited. Just, everybody's excited. We're all excited. Everybody's excited for Monday. The motivational speakers is like, oh, you should put down 50% of what you earned somewhere. It's just like, oh my God, dude, shut up. No one wants to hear that crap. No one wants to hear that crap. And then, you turn on anything and all you hear about is just the negativity throughout the entire world. I'm not talking about YouTube. YouTube is a very small fraction of the craziness, but there's a lot of craziness here on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. We had a great show the other night. I mean, the chat was a little wild for my liking, but like the regulars were cool. We had some stopper buyers and things like that. And, it gets a little out of hand from time to time. That you want to talk about anything, and that it'll be criticism galore. That's just the facts of it, which is fine. I mean, the helpful criticism isn't like that big of a deal, but somebody sent me something the other day where it was like the last show that I did, and I don't even know what channel it was, and whoever was hosting it was pretty much just incoherent babble, psychobabble, and that's what the internet's good for, though. The internet is good for, if you're an asshole and have an opinion, you don't have to have any talent anymore to draw a crowd. You just have to act like a lunatic and have super strong opinions. And so you have a lot of people out there that take what should be probably more of a refined type show or talk show or whatever it is, and something more refined with a little bit of talent, a little bit of thought, and not just fired it up, but people fire it up. But you just have to be like, people, for some reason, like people like overbearing situations or overbearing people. And that's why I can't really like argue with people online much, because people generally don't want to have like a debate, like a point counterpoint. Is like everybody screams, and everybody knows that when you are screaming on specifically StreamYard has this major flaw, and I've addressed it with them many times, and for some reason, not that I can't figure it out either, because I'm not an engineer, but for some reason, StreamYard has a major problem with audio drops, and when people start talking more, it's not clear, right? So if you're arguing, any other normal audio interface, you can argue with somebody and the argument's annoying, but you can still hear the other person. And for some reason on StreamYard, you can't. Somebody's audio inevitably cuts out or dips low. And so there's, debating is not really that, it's really not that big of a draw, for me. Plus, like, people are just inevitably, nasty. But you can't argue with people. So StreamYard has this really, really big flaw, which makes it even worse if people want to argue. So then you're sitting there listening to people going, "Oh, you piece of," and then you hear this, it's like dead air, and then it comes back up, and then it goes down, and it goes back up, and so you can't really have much of a debate. It's even difficult just having a panel with that, but everybody wants to fight, and everybody wants to throw shade, and everybody wants to accuse everybody else of doing everything that everybody else is doing. And it's an interesting study on the human psyche, that, like, I hear people talk about narcissism all the time. That person's a narcissist. This person's just because you don't like the person doesn't mean they're a narcissist. I mean, that's really what it is. If you don't like somebody, you just call them a narcissist, a racist, or a pedo. But most of the time, people head the narcissist route, because they're like, "Well, you're a narcissist." And I'm like, "Well, okay, also known as an asshole. That's what it is. You know, you're like, oh, well, you're a narcissist. Well, you're dumb, you know, or I don't know, whatever. But it's so like, it is such a buzzword that's just overused. And, you know, people that are narcissistic like to accuse people of being narcissists and then waiting for like a huge reaction. It's how they get their, it's how they get their jollies, I guess. I don't know. Seems like it, at least. Eric says, narcissism, a real thing on psychiatric diagnosis. Oh, I'm not saying it's not. Of course it's a real thing. But I can't diagnose anybody. I don't know who. I know just like an annoying person or somebody who's really into themselves. I don't know what it would be classified. And everybody's like, it's a spectrum. I don't know if it is or not. I just know that most of the people that call people narcissists probably are the real narcissist, I guess. It's a way to insult somebody and trying to sound like you know what you're talking about, instead of just saying, hey, you're a jerk off and nobody likes you, which is the same thing as being a narcissist. I think. I don't know. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't make them a narcissist, okay? Like that. Let's just get that clear. But somebody was playing something that I said the other day, and they were upset that I wasn't getting to the point fast enough. So they were live streaming what I was talking about to their audience. And as I was talking about the story, they're like, "Oh, you talk too slow. Get to the point. Don't play my shit then. Who cares? It's a recording. I'm not going to hurry up because you say so." I've seen the people that talk about stuff on YouTube. They're horrible. I would say like 80% are absolute dog shit. And then the rest, and then there's another like 10% that are like, you can stomach them. And then there's like 10% that are good. I agree. I'm in the dog crap arena, but I'm just saying, better. Don't tell me what I can do. Talk faster. All right. Frig off. Is that fast enough? Frig off. You narcissist. Bunch of narcissists. They're everywhere. Hold on one second. Well, yeah. Of course, I'm not talking about my audience. Why would I talk about my audience? I was talking about other creators. Not even creators. I'm done using that word. I'm not using creators. It's just that the only things that are created mostly are false fallacies and opinions. That's what it is. It's not really like creating something means that you would like work on it, not just throw a panel up there and, hey, everybody come on in and talk while I sit here and eat Cheetos. Just kidding. I'm sorry, that was mean. Sorry. I had to do it, bro. I had to do it. But that's honestly not who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anybody. You just watch and just a bunch of clowns. It's a clown show. Clowns. And I used to like clowns. I wasn't scared of them like everybody else. Or they could just not play it, if you're going to like complain about stuff. Like I'm not much of a striker. But the fact that anybody would be like, hurry up, you get to the point. It's pre-recorded, or you're playing a recording. Get there when you want to get there. Get there. I just think that's the best. That is the best. Oh. I can't believe it. It's just, and they get a little bit of attention because they're talking about something that everybody's interested in. That's why people go into true crime mostly. Not like you have the experts and stuff like that go into true crime because, they know about it. But typically, and I say this, typically, they find some sort of niche. They find they find a community, a subspecies or whatever it is, and then being contrarian. Like, people make a living off of being contrarians and telling people what they do wrong while they do the exact same thing. Like, there's people that used to get mad at me constantly because they said that I wasn't respectful of Dawn and Candace as parents of a missing child. And I see the same people that have said that to me, like, laughing about things that other parents of missing children are doing or going through or have said or have claimed. I think that's one of the funniest things ever. And because how do you not see the, hypocrisy? Why would anybody see hypocrisy? Night, Gail. Sleep good. Why would anybody take accountability for their whatever it is? I don't know what it is. I just find it funny. And then, and I've had this battle with other people as well. That I am increasingly bothered by people talking about other people's children that are missing, that don't take care of their own. And this has been, Doug used to do the same thing. The guy who's in jail, whose name I don't even want to bring up, but he used to do the same thing. The same thing. I have no idea where you would get the nuts to even think that that's appropriate. Because it's not. It's actually, it'll just show you what kind of person these people are. But it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I mean, the dude I used to do shows with, I didn't know that he owed $80,000 in back child support. I had no clue. How would you know that? Like, I didn't go look it up. You just kind of take somebody, and then when it's shown, you're like, Jesus, really? Like, how is that possible? NorCal Jim's not enjoying the show. Sorry, man. We're not really talking true crime. We're just talking, true crap. I apologize. Catch me on the lab, though, if that's what you're looking for. See, I like talking about different stuff. It's my favorite. I like talking about random things. I like talking about people. I like talking about hypocrisy. Look, I've been a hypocrite before many times and didn't even see it. I had no idea. And then, when you kind of look back and you're like, well, that was kind of the exact same thing that I was doing, that I was telling that person. But when it comes to, like, there are certain things that you can't get around in life. Okay, well, there are certain things that disqualify you from being a good person. And one of those things is when you have children, not taking care of those children and leaving it up to others. That is something that is unforgivable. It shows what kind of a person somebody is. It shows the selfishness of a person. It shows pretty much selfishness is the word that I would always go back to. I think I've told this before, but I remember going, I had kids really, really, really young. And they got to eat. I got to feed them. It's expensive. So I had to work, but I was going to school at the same time. And so I had to take a job as a night janitor at a hotel, a night janitor. I was like 18 years old. And I had to work at night because I had to go to school during the day and try to take care of my family. And I was not with my boys' mother. We had split up pretty early on. Shocker, you're 18 years old. I think by the time I was 20, I was still, I don't know if I was working nights still or not. I can't remember if I was working nights, but I might have been. I think so. Maybe it was swing shift, like 4 to 11, or I did that one as well. But I was thinking, well, I had a girlfriend and I was living with, we lived together, and she actually worked at the hotel with me. And I remember not, after a paycheck and rent and insurance and gas, you don't really have a lot of money. You have groceries and kids and all that kind of stuff, right? It's a struggle. It really is. It's a grind. It's a complete and absolute struggle, and you just don't know how you're going to last, 7 or 10 days until you get your next paycheck or whatever it is, that you're looking for. And, I couldn't afford cable. I couldn't afford, I could barely afford to even own a TV for the electricity in itself was always a pain in the ass, and so, but I remember my kids, they were just obsessed with the movie Cars. And I remember, that I needed to get a TV that had a DVD player in it. And so I went to the store, like Target or whatever, and I was like, oh my God, those things are expensive. I can't afford that. So I left and I went to the pawn shop and I found a DVD VHS combo 13-inch television. It was like $25. And I wanted to get it for my kids because they wanted the movie Cars. And I bought the movie. I had like $60 left over. I remember I had paid everything off, and I bought the movie, which we watched every day, night and day, with that TV. And it was, I was very, very happy that I was able to get them that. But, you know, you still feel kind of like you're a failure in certain ways. But, you know, I didn't have a choice. You know, I mean, there's just no choice. You know, you didn't have that choice. And when your children, you know, they were little, like 2 and 3, just little dudes. And we lived in a upstairs Victorian. It's like a 1-bedroom. I mean, it was so small, so tiny, but it was home. It was home, and we were comfortable there, and we had food, we had shelter and heat. But it wasn't always easy. It wasn't pretty. It was a struggle. And it got better as time went by. Obviously, it does get better if you keep working at it. But you know, and then there's other struggles way down the road. There's just struggles way down the road. And I was 20 years old with 2 very young kids, trying my hardest to be independent, and I look back on those days, and, you know, my kids barely remember them, but I look back on those days as kind of like a rite of passage, you know. Yeah, we didn't always have the best Christmases when they were young, but they had Christmas. We didn't always have, you know, the newest video games. Eventually they did try. I mean, you know, that eventually that came around, and it was like, it was, you know, when you start making a couple bucks when you get older, and when I say a couple bucks, I mean a couple bucks. I remember one time I was going to take them to, when Kmart was still a thing. I was getting off of work. It was a Friday. We were going to get off work and we were going to go look at Legos. Well, I had no idea that Legos cost, and this is 15 years ago. I did not know that Legos were the most expensive thing in the world. I had no idea. Kids love Legos, but for some reason, plastic like that is extremely expensive. Legos are one of the most expensive things that you will ever find, ever in your life. I don't know why they're so expensive. They just are. And they're, I don't get it. I really didn't. To this day, they're expensive. Like, Legos are crazy expensive still. But, you know, kids love Legos. And I remember, like, I was like thinking to myself, I really can't afford the Legos, but, you know, you make do. You make do. You cut something back so your kids can have what they want, what I think that they deserved. Yeah, Legos are just crazy expensive. But anyway, so that's what I meant by it's like a rite of passage. You go through all these things. You have some lean months. You have some lean weeks, and but it does. It sort of does. I wouldn't say sort of. It does build character. Having to take care of yourself like that and take care of your family at such a young age. You learn not to squander opportunities. Meaning, if you're able to save a buck here, save a buck there, or whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, it's extremely difficult to raise children at such a young, and that's my fault, by the way. I always say my kids, I didn't either, and none of you did either. None of us asked to be born. It wasn't like we're saying, let them be born. You just you're just born. That's how it happens. You think you fall in love with somebody, or you do fall in love with somebody, and you end up having children, and then the children, eventually they don't stay small forever. That's a huge misconception, because everybody thinks that, like, oh yeah, my kids are just, they're going to grow up to be adults that remember the horse shit that you put them through. And sometimes they just, say, well, my parents ruined my life, but you're not going to be able to get away from that. But they grow up into adults with opinions, with voices, and it's not always good when that happens, because even though they're your child, they're an outspoken. They're basically outspoken against you if you didn't take care of them. And never mind if their minds have already been predisposed to the hatred of what you are as a father or whatever it is. But nobody knows until they get older how they're gonna feel. And I made it look, and I would never say that I was a perfect parent at all. I remember when I was coaching their little league, I used to get so pissed off. Like, just like, oh my God, Peyton, what are you doing? He still brings it up to this day. I feel bad about that. But, you got to get over it. Because I'd buy him a hot dog after the game and he'd be happy about it. And then he goes, remember that time you yelled at me? I'm like, yeah, I remember, dude. I remember. I'm sorry. I apologize. Because, we're not perfect. But nobody's asking for perfection. Well, maybe they are. I don't know. None of us are capable of that. Nobody's capable of being a perfect parent. But you still have to deal with. I remember going and sitting in parent-teacher conferences at 8 a.m, and now they do this thing. Like, when it was back in the day, you just had like a homeroom teacher that they would meet with. So you'd only get like one. Parent-teacher conferences were the worst, unless you were like an angel. Because, basically they're just telling your folks what you did every single day. Like, little Johnny, he's a nice kid when he's, not throwing peas at his fellow classmates during lunch. Or, he could work harder. He's distracted. But now they do this thing where, they have the rotating classes. And so instead of meeting with one teacher, you have to meet with all of them, which is like 6 of them. The PE teacher shows up. The PE teacher, whether the kid's doing good or not in PE, which, that's a whole thing by itself. The PE teacher shows up and you're like, what the frig is this about? Well, little Johnny's not dressing down every day. You get marked down for not dressing down. You could fail PE by just not changing clothes. That's what would happen. It was just like the worst. So you got to sit there and say, well, your son, he's a great. This is how they preface everything. Your kid, you got a great kid here. However, and then you're like, oh God, please, please be gentle. Please be gentle on him, please. Well, sometimes your son's eye goes lazy and he drools while I'm giving a conference. And he doesn't have a lazy eye or a drooling problem. So why does his eye go lazy and he drools? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Like, for some reason he falls asleep in class. And then they always say, well, you move him closer, move him to the front, which I don't know what helps. All I'm saying is, that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that there is a rite of passage. And if you don't take care of your kids, you're a loser. You're a clown. You're a joke. You're invalid. You can do a lot of other things. You can be a bank robber. There's a lot of people that actually care for their kids that were probably very terrible people. But they had a relationship with their children because, sometimes the paternal instinct in somebody, although they may be a serial killer or something, is so strong that they somehow have an ounce of decency to take care of their kids. That's it, dude. That's all it is. So I don't know. I think about that, and then I think about it's not even a true crime community. It's just a bunch of people that talk shit to each other. And I mean, I'm included in that, I'm sure, but at least I see it for what it is. Make everybody else feel bad. Don't you dare talk about that. How dare you have an opinion? How dare your opinion doesn't match up to mine? You should try it my way, because my way is the right way. My way is the right way, so you should do it the way I do it. You should think like me. Nah. I'm good. How dare you not think like I do? My first kindergarten report card was bad, needs improvement. Damn. That's tough. How do you not see what I see? Because I don't want to. Somebody said the other day to me, they're like, dude, you got to be more open-minded. I said, what do I got to do that for? I'm open-minded. My mind's open to what I'm interpreting. I don't need to be open-minded. I'm not going to shut my mind off and go, well, you know what? Just because that person, just had a bunch of gasoline and matches that they were holding, and their face was had char burns on them, and they were standing next to a house that was completely burned down. You know what? It's probably not them. I think that we gotta maybe something else happen. We gotta think about this here. Let's have an open mind. And I'm sitting there going, My mind's open. My mind's open, brother. You know, you gotta have more of an open. No, I don't. I certainly don't. I have an open mind. You have tunnel vision. No, I'm just not willing to explore, things that I think are dumb. So I don't really, it's not that I want to feel that way. It's just how I feel. Wait, a little bit gifting a Lab After Dark membership. Thank you very much. A little bit. I appreciate that. And been a member for 2 months. I know you've been a member longer than that. And I think single mom. Where are you at, single mom? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Dear single mom, WTF true crime. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, kids still do get report cards for sure. It's electronic. You remember when you would like run home, like, oh God, the mail's coming today. I gotta get the, you can't do that. Kids don't get to do that anymore. And I've done that. Eric doesn't actually like birthdays. It's all right though. It's like, God, what day are they mailing out? I got to get home just in time so nobody sees this ever, ever, ever. Little Johnny pees in bottles while he sits in the back of the class sleeping. And then chews sunflower seeds and spits them on the ground. That's what you chose to write in the side? You only had like 20 characters and that's what you did? You had to say that I pee in a bottle? Little Johnny. I don't know why I keep making fun of little Johnny. But I do. Robin says, I remember changing the grades before my dad sees them. Yeah, I can understand that. True crime was an eye-opener for me. Watching some folks reminded me of high school petty BS, which is why I choose to watch The Lab and Lab After Dark. Your chat and mods are great. I agree. Thank you. No cake. Are we talking about little Johnny or little Joshy? I'm not answering that. NorCal Jim. I'm NorCal Josh. School is not designed for many personality types. Sadly, that's true. That's completely true. Yeah, it's electronic now. There's no change in grades. There's no fluff. You can't beat the friggin' mailman home anymore like the good old days. I gotta get to the mail. Mean Girls has nothing on YouTube true crime. I don't think it's just like a true crime thing. I think it's just the internet. I see people fight all the time, like over it's like a one big expose fest. Like you're a hero when you expose people. Like I don't know. I'm not saying that there aren't people that need that, but I think that it's really the information. Like it's kind of like above. It's like above and beyond. This is just not. I mean, they'll go into every aspect of everybody's life, and I think a lot of people. That's why a lot of people are not willing to say when somebody does something that you don't like, or that's something that you don't agree with, and the internet is kind of made to to brawl on, I guess. I don't know. I'll fight with anybody. I'll argue with anybody. It doesn't do anything. I mean, it's entertaining, I guess, for people that are watching. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it's kind of petty. Most things are petty. Did I see, I think I saw Brittany got in a fight earlier, I heard. I haven't seen it. Not a fight, but I don't know what it was. I haven't seen it, so it's hard for me to, speculate on it, but I heard who it was with, and you're just like, oh my, whatever. Did anything get resolved? Probably not. And this isn't against you, Brittany. I understand. Trust me, I understand, but no thank you. I'd rather argue with not just a wall, not just a brick, probably a retaining wall. I think that I would rather argue with a retaining wall, personally, than arguing with certain people, because there's no winning. Like, those aren't arguments that you're going to win with people. Nobody wins those arguments. All that ever happens is everybody gets worked up. You know, I read this report one time about when people get, when you like get to the point where you're raising your voice and yelling and screaming, like when you have a fight with somebody and it's not physical, but you're just yelling. Okay. I was reading inside of your body, your biorhythms, your chakra, whatever it is that you want to call it, is disturbed for days. Like, it takes a couple of days for all the nerves and the sensory to go back down to a normal level. That is, if you don't get that upset again. Now, there are people that live in a perpetual state of that, where they're just constantly, and then their blood pressure adjusts, and their veins widen because they're crazy, and there's just you can't argue with that. All you're going to do is get yourself upset. And that's just how it is. It sucks. While they go to sleep at night perfectly fine. They don't even think about it. They're like, well, that was a Monday. That was a Monday. That was a Monday. How's everybody doing? You're like, beep, 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 beep. Night times. I go night now. That's what they do. I go night. And they just shut it off. But if you're not that kind of person, if you end up fighting with somebody, then you're constantly on the retreat while trying to gain ground. It just doesn't work. It's not a good look, and it doesn't make you feel any better. So if you can argue with somebody that's screaming at you without getting upset with them, then you're in control. Then you're in charge. That's the kind of person that succeeds. That's the kind of person that is able to separate reality and a illogical fight that's never going to change any. I have never gotten in an argument with somebody where in the middle of a heated discussion they say, you know what? Now that I'm looking over the situation and you're right. Nah, it doesn't happen. It's just point counterpoint. Who's better at what? Who's better at arguing? I'm not that good at arguing. I mean, I don't mind it, but I also don't really get that bent out of shape about it. I mean, there's been occasions, especially in real life, where you do get bent out of shape, but most of the time I just kind of, for me, if it's not life or death, it's really, not that serious. That's kind of how I feel about a lot of things, which is wrong. And I just, I don't, there are things that you can fixate about that will ruin your day. You can't let these people ruin your day. You can't do it. Just don't let them don't let them take your joy. Don't let them take your peace. Talk about what you want. Be respectful, but, look out for the phonies, the frauds, the disingenuous. They're everywhere. Some people see me that way. Some people see everybody that way. But some people say, well, he's just, he's an asshole. All right, well, I'm not going to disagree. And oh, look, I've gotten in yelling matches with my friends, for sure. Absolutely. But I tell you this, the reason I do these kinds of shows and just talk about whatever it is that's either on my mind or goof around or whatever, I know that my numbers could be much higher for a after dark show if I chose to constantly engage in that kind of stuff. But I'd rather not. I'd rather just, because I can get a decent group of people to listen to me without constantly having to talk about, the hot topics or whatever it is that you want to call it. Like all that's being talked about right now is Sebastian's case, but it's not really even about Sebastian. It's about the players surrounding Sebastian's case, and which is just how it works. So I don't get mad about it, and I'm not willing to have the same conversation 7 days a week about it. Are we hurting? I don't want to do that, dude. Nor do I want to respond to it. But I just know that there's a lot of people or a lot of YouTubers that are no talent hacks, that are disingenuous, that accuse you of doing things that they do, waiting for someone to react to it and give a super strong reaction. But I don't care. I truly don't. I say that a lot, but I don't just say it out of happenstance. I don't. You think that I give like a shit when somebody says up there, and Josh is an asshole, he's a liar, he did this and he did that. I'm just like, whatever, dude. It's not even worth it. It's just not even. It's not worth it. I mean, every day I open up my mentions, I'm criticized. You should see the comments that people leave me. They're nuts. Absolutely psychotic. Nuts. And I just kind of go, God, I would hate to have to live like that. I'm so glad that my brain doesn't work that way all the time. I don't think everything's a conspiracy, and I don't think everybody's out to get me. I make a lot of my own mistakes. I'm willing to deal with that. What is it they say? What you eat doesn't make me fat, and what I eat doesn't make you fat. You know what I mean? But most people take the bait. Like I said, I've taken the bait before. I've taken the bait. I've argued. I've gotten upset. Yeah. I try not to. But then there's people that do stuff that is cool, that I like. So I do see some of that, but most of the time I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, you get people wishing, I mean, they just want your demise. They just want you to cease to exist. Oh, I'm doing, I'm commenting because I want you to be better. For who? For you or for me? Get the frig out of my face. I want you to be better. I want you to be normal. I want you to leave me alone. And that's like somebody said the other day, like, dude, I can't believe you delete comments. That's pretty soft. No, it's not. I don't want your horseshit comment. I don't need to hear you say, hey, Josh, you're a fat ass or whatever. Like, it's like, okay, cool. And then I just delete it because why should I let you dirty up my house? Go dirty up your own. I'm sure you got a pig pen somewhere. Go bother those people. Go, I don't know. Go poop or scoop for the Amish somewhere. And I mean, you don't just let strangers in your house and, piss on your carpet and don't do something about it. Do you? Do you? No. I don't. Oh, it's really soft of you. I don't think so. I think it's logical. And I think it's smart. And I think that has been a feature that is wonderful. And I like to do that. Of course, I get threatened with these cease and desist letters a lot, which I find funny. And somebody, I won't name who the person is, but they're like, Don, we need to get you a cease and desist. Like they want to put a cease and desist against me, I guess. Which if that ever comes in the mail or emailed, I will print it out and I will urinate on it. I'm not kidding. And then I'll keep going. I won't stop. Cease and desist isn't going to stop me from doing anything. Ever. Because inevitably when I get sued, if that ever does happen, which would be awesome, then we could all just sit for a deposition. I've been waiting for those days. That's been my plan. That's been a plan. If anybody ever wanted to sue me, I would just say, okay, well, it's fine. How about we just sit for a deposition? I don't know. I've gotten cease and desist before, but I mostly get threatened with them. I mostly get threatened by them, but they very rarely. I mean, I've gotten cease and desist before, but I never abided by one because why should I? I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't feel bad about things that I didn't do wrong, that people will say, well, you did this. Well, whatever. It's just how it is. People want you to shut up. They're like, don't talk about me. I'll sue you. Right. Sure you will. Sue. You hear that a lot. I'm going to sue you. Sue me. Fine, do it. It's not as easy as you would think. And there's a reason why people don't go around just suing. I know that people suing at the drop of a hat because it's a big waste of resources and energy, and it's very, very hard to collect on any sort of defamation or character slander. It is so hard to collect that. I mean, the standard, the burden is extremely high. And it's you're allowed to feel how you want about people. The only thing that matters in civil court is the truth, and that's it. If you're not telling the truth, if you don't have the truth on your side, then you might have a problem. Let me see here. Hold on. So, I don't care. I mean, like I would ignore. I've ignored them before, and I will probably ignore them again, just in case. Yeah, I love a good deposition. I like watching them. Yeah, of course. Exactly. That's exactly what happens. They do it to others. And like I said, I could rant about true crime all day, every single day. And, but it's not like, I just don't want to. I don't like, I like to talk about it when I have something to talk about, not just to talk about. And the fact that, I enjoy doing these kinds of lives are just because I love broadcasting. Everybody say, well, you love my rants. Am I ranting? Is that what I'm doing? I just think that if you don't take care of your kids, you're a piece of crap. And then there's just different levels of all of that. So you can call someone a dirty name, and that's okay, as long as you don't accuse them of something you can't prove. Let me think about that for a second. So you can call someone a dirty name, and that's okay. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I guess you could call anybody. Well, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I said I'm going to stick around for a little bit longer. And I am, no question. But, everything comes to an end. But then, like I said, I'm here for another 6, I think. another. Calling somebody a mean name is definitely not slander. Exactly, Josh. Deadbeat parents are the worst, denying your kids and not paying child support. I know. If people do it, it's crazy. Yeah, you can pretty much say whatever you want. I don't know. I just think that if you impede somebody's how would you put this, ability to make money by telling lies, then yes, you can get in trouble for that. But if you're telling the truth and it affects them, then I don't think you can get much trouble for it. I mean, like I said, all that matters in depositions are truth. Most of the people that say that they're going to send a cease and desist don't understand the law. They print it out online and they think, oh yeah, look, I have a cease and desist. I don't think so. Like I said, I would legit turn it into a paper airplane, probably wee on it, it's like, remember the coach in Major League when Dorn wouldn't field his ground balls. He wouldn't stay in front of the ground balls, and he's like, it says in my contract that I don't have to do anything unnecessary, blah blah blah, and then he takes his contract and he pees on it. I mean, that would be what I would want to do. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for letting me rant. I appreciate it. Thank you for Little Bit and Single Mom. Happy birthday. And thank you guys for gifting those 2 memberships. Very much appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
Where'd you find this?
She literally blasphemed the Holy Spirit upon my channel.
Is he on your chat right now?
He's in the chat room, yes.
Oh my God.
I guess unless it's like
Not Christian.